After driving for 7 hours in the rain to surprise my wife at her work party, I walked in with flowers and heard her tell her coworker, "If he gets in a wreck on the way, at least I'll get the house." They laughed while I stood in the hallway, soaking wet. I left the flowers on her desk and drove back in silence. 2 weeks later, she was begging me through tears. I'm not the kind of person who usually posts online about personal stuff, but I can't stop replaying this night in my head. It's been 2 weeks and I still haven't told a soul. I feel like I'm slowly going insane from holding it in. So here I am, throwing this out into the void because I honestly don't know what else to do. I, 35M, have been married to Emma, 33F, for just over 5 years. We met 8 years ago at a mutual friend's New Year's party, and things clicked fast. She was magnetic, one of those people who always knew what to say in a crowd, the one who made boring moments feel like scenes from a movie. I fell hard, and for a long time I thought we had the kind of relationship people envied. That started to change about 6 months ago, when she landed a new job at a marketing firm. It was a big step up, better pay, more responsibility, bigger clients. She was proud, and I was proud of her. But right away the energy shifted. Late nights turned into full weekends. Phone calls became hushed. There were more work dinners, and they were never ones I was invited to. At first I told myself I was being insecure, that this was just her getting used to a new role. But the distance got harder to ignore. She stopped laughing at my jokes. She stopped asking about my day. The warmth in the little things started to fade. Then, 2 Fridays ago, I found out she was attending a company party at a vineyard about 7 hours away. I only knew because I overheard her on the phone with someone from her office while I was making coffee. I wasn't invited. When I asked about it later, she said it was just a team-building thing, and not for spouses. I asked where it was, and she gave me a vague, some winery out near Hillsborough. That night, around 9 p.m., I texted her, "Hope the party's going well. Love you. Be safe." She replied, "Thanks. I'm glad you didn't make that crazy drive. It's a lot of rain tonight," which caught me off guard, because I hadn't told her I was even thinking about going. I mean, I had considered it. I'd even looked up the venue, but I hadn't said a word. So how did she know? That's what planted the idea in my head. I wasn't planning to go, but suddenly I had to, not to catch her doing something, but because something didn't feel right and I couldn't explain why. So I went. I picked up flowers from her favorite little shop, the one she always says wraps bouquets, like they're gift-wrapped by angels. I got in my car and drove 7 hours in a storm. Not ideal weather for a road trip, but I figured, hey, maybe I'll surprise her, show her I still care, that I'm still here. By the time I got there, it was close to midnight. The winery was lit up with fairy lights, and I could hear music coming from inside. I parked around the side and walked up a gravel path, trying to stay low-key. I didn't want to cause a scene. I just thought maybe I'd catch a moment with her, give her the flowers, say hi, remind her we're still a team. I never got that far. I stood in a hallway near the tasting room, soaked to the bone and holding those damn flowers. I could hear voices carrying over the music, laughing, clinking glasses, the hum of tipsy coworkers winding down the night. That's when I heard her. Emma. She was telling a story to a few people, her voice unmistakable. I stayed frozen, not ready to walk in yet. And then I heard her say this, "It seems to me that he wants to come here. It's just a feeling." She laughed. They all laughed. Then she added, "Honestly, if he gets in a wreck on the way, at least I'll get the house." More laughter. That one sentence didn't sound cruel. Not exactly. It sounded flippant, thoughtless. The kind of thing you say after one too many drinks, trying to sound cool or sarcastic in front of people who barely know you. But I knew her, and I knew that behind her laugh was something real. She knew I was coming, and that's what she chose to say about it. Not "he's so sweet," or "what a lunatic. I love him for it." Just a joke about what she'd inherit if I never made it. That was the moment something cracked. I didn't walk in. I didn't say a word. I quietly stepped back, found a small round table near the coat rack, and placed the flowers on it. Then I turned and walked out. The rain hadn't let up, and I didn't care. I drove all 7 hours back through it. No music, no podcast, just the sound of tires on wet asphalt and my own thoughts clawing at me the whole way. I got home at 4 a.m. I showered, threw my soaked clothes in the laundry, and then I sat on the edge of our bed, watching her sleep like none of this had happened. She still doesn't know I was there. The next morning, she texted me a photo of her coffee mug with a little heart emoji like always. Business as usual. We've talked about mundane things. Groceries, bills, our neighbor's dog getting loose again, but we haven't touched anything real. She keeps asking if I'm okay. I tell her I'm just tired from work. I've been sleeping in the guest room to get better rest. She hasn't pushed too hard, but she knows something's wrong. Last night, she asked if I wanted to go to a marriage retreat with her next month. Said, it might help us reconnect. And all I could think was, does she actually want that? Or did the flowers on the table spook her more than she's letting on? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this marriage is anymore. I just know I'm not the kind of person you casually joke about disappearing on a rainy night. Not when I was the one still showing up. Edit. Wow. I honestly didn't expect this post to resonate the way it has. I thought I was alone in this, that maybe I was being too sensitive or reading too much into things. But hearing so many of you say, "You're not crazy," hit me harder than I expected. Quick clarifications. No, I haven't confronted her yet. I'm not trying to trap her or blow up the whole relationship in one conversation. I'm trying to figure out what I want first and not react out of pure hurt. Date 1. Hey everyone. I didn't think I'd be posting again so soon, but a lot's happened over the last couple days, and I feel like I'm starting to unravel. First of all, thank you. Seriously. The response to my first post was overwhelming. I've read every comment, every message. Some of you told me to run. Some said to talk to her. Others shared stories that sounded eerily similar to mine, and it reminded me I'm not the only one who's felt blindsided by someone they thought they knew. Anyway, I finally talked to her. Not about what she said that night, not yet, but about the bigger stuff. The distance. The disconnection. I didn't plan the conversation. It just happened. We were having breakfast. She made French toast, my favorite. I wasn't even hungry, but I think she was trying to do something nice. And I didn't want to shut it down. She was scrolling her phone between bites, and I just blurted it out. Are you happy? She looked up like she didn't hear me at first. So I asked again. Are you happy? With us? With this? She set her fork down, and for a second, she looked like she was about to cry. But she didn't. Instead, she kind of sighed and said, I don't know. I think I'm just tired. I asked, of what? She said, everything. Work. Life. I feel like I'm in a fog half the time. I wanted to believe her. I almost did. But something about the way she said it felt rehearsed. Like she's been using that line on herself. Maybe even on someone else. I told her I felt disconnected. That I didn't recognize us lately. That it felt like she was somewhere else even when she was sitting right next to me. She nodded. Agreed. Said she's felt it too. But here's the part that stuck with me. When I asked if she wanted to fix it, she hesitated. Not long, just a beat. But it was there. And when she finally said yes, it didn't feel like a yes. It felt like the kind of answer you give when you think it's the right thing to say, not the honest thing. After breakfast, she brought up the marriage retreat again. Said it could be a fresh start. I told her I'd think about it. She kissed my cheek before heading off to work. Later that afternoon, I did something I'm not proud of. I opened her laptop. I've never gone through her stuff before. I've never felt like I had to. But that morning, after our talk, I couldn't shake this gnawing feeling in my gut. The way she hesitated. The way she suddenly wanted to fix things now, after weeks of drifting. After that comment at the party. Her email was still open. There wasn't much. No smoking gun. No hotel confirmations or secret accounts. But there were messages to Eric. Eric, the guy from the party. The one she made the joke to. The one who laughed. They weren't overtly flirty, but the familiarity was obvious. Lots of ugh. I need wine and a long rant session, and you always get it. Stuff you send to someone who's emotionally available to you. One message, from a week ago, just said, sometimes I feel like I'm married to a roommate. That one hit me hard. It wasn't the most scandalous thing I could have found, but it confirmed what I was afraid of. She's somewhere else emotionally, and she's letting someone else be the place she runs to. I didn't say anything when she came home. Couldn't. I felt hollow, but something shifted in me. I think, deep down, I've been holding on to this version of her that doesn't exist anymore. The person I drove 7 hours in the rain for, that version of her hasn't been around for a long time. I'm starting to see that now. I still haven't told her I heard what she said that night, but I'm getting closer. Edit. A lot of you are asking if I took screenshots of the emails. Yes, I forwarded the thread to myself. I don't know if I'll ever use them, but I felt like I needed to have proof. For me, more than anything. Proof I'm not imagining this. Also, no, there weren't any obvious signs of physical cheating. At least not in the messages. But emotional affairs can be just as damaging. Maybe worse in a way. Because they take time. They chip away at trust piece by piece. Someone else asked if we've ever had issues like this before. Honestly, no. Not even close. We've had normal fights, sure. But betrayal? Secrets? This is new territory. I'm not rushing anything. I'm not packing bags or serving papers tomorrow. But I'm watching. Closely. And I'm starting to think that silence isn't the safe option anymore. Update 2. It's been a little over a week since my last update, and I wish I could say things were getting better. But they're not. Not even close. After the email I found between Emma and Eric, the roommate comment, the subtle intimacy. I've been walking around with this low hum of dread in my chest, like I'm constantly bracing for something I can't quite name. We've still been doing this weird dance. Me pretending I'm okay, her pretending she's invested. She's been more attentive, oddly enough. Initiating cuddles, making my coffee, asking if I want to go for walks like we used to, but it all feels performative. Then, 3 days ago, she mentioned she had to go on another business trip. Same story. Client meeting, overnight stay, marketing pitch in a town about an hour and a half away. She barely looked up from her phone when she said it. I nodded like I always do, but something about her tone, too casual, made the hairs on my neck stand up. That night, I didn't sleep. My mind kept going back to that party, to the email, to the way she looked at her phone with that tiny smile she doesn't show me anymore. And I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I was going to follow her. Not in a movie stalker kind of way. I just wanted clarity, evidence, closure. Something solid that didn't live only in my gut or the gaps in her stories. So the next morning, I called out of work, waited 10 minutes after she pulled out of the driveway, and then got in my car and followed the same route. She'd said the meeting was in a neighboring town, small place with a couple hotels and a downtown strip of boutiques and wine bars. Not exactly a business hub, but sure. I kept a distance, parked a few cars behind at red lights, took alternate turns when needed. The entire drive, I was sweating through my shirt, my heart in my throat. I half hoped I'd catch her walking into a conference room or grabbing a solo lunch with a laptop open. I wanted to be wrong. She pulled into a gas station on the outskirts of town. I waited at a diner across the street, engine running, trying not to stare. About 10 minutes later, a man walked up to her car. Tall, business casual, maybe late 30s. She got out, hugged him like it wasn't their first time, and they talked for a minute before getting back into the car. Together. He got in the passenger seat like he'd done it before. They drove straight to a small inn tucked behind a tree-lined road. A place I only noticed because I was searching for anything that would make this all make sense. It had one of those outdated signs that flips between vacancy and no vacancy in glowing red letters. They parked, walked in together. I didn't follow them inside. I didn't need to. I sat in my car for nearly an hour. My hands were gripping the steering wheel so hard my fingers were stiff. My brain just kept looping one phrase over and over. She knew I was coming. And that's what she said. Now this was clarity. Cruel, cold clarity. Eventually, I drove home. When she got back the next day, she kissed me on the forehead and said, "Miss me?" Like nothing happened. Like I hadn't just watched my wife of 5 years check into a hotel with another man. I didn't respond. I just asked how the meeting went. "Ugh, it dragged," she said, setting her bag down. Nothing exciting. That night, I slept on the couch again. She didn't ask why. That was 13 days ago. She's been trying harder lately. More than usual. She bought takeout from my favorite Thai place, picked up my dry cleaning, even brought home a little souvenir from her trip, a keychain with the name of the town printed on it. That part almost made me laugh. Like a little token from a betrayal. And now we're here. 2 weeks later, she's begging me through tears. Not because I confronted her, because I stopped talking. Completely. I've gone cold. Not cruel, just silent. I answer when she speaks, but short, clipped responses. I don't meet her eyes. I don't offer affection. I don't share my day. It's like I flipped a switch and became a ghost in my own house. She noticed. Fast. The first few days, she played it off. Tried to nudge me out of it with jokes and back rubs and suggestions of fun weekend plans. But I didn't budge. I wasn't trying to punish her. I just couldn't bring myself to pretend anymore. Last night, it all boiled over. She came into the living room while I was folding laundry. She stood there for a minute, then just crumpled, fell to the floor, crying. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there holding a towel. "Please talk to me," she said, voice cracking. "I don't know what's happening to us." I didn't say anything. "If I did something wrong, just tell me," she sobbed. "Please don't shut me out." And here's the wild part. I almost believed her. For a second, I almost believed she didn't know what I knew. Like maybe she'd convinced herself the lie was real. But I've seen enough now. I didn't tell her what I saw. Not yet, because this next part, that's mine. I'll be back with another update soon. Edit. Yes, I took photos. Of them at the gas station. At the hotel. Nothing invasive. Just enough to confirm the timeline. No, I haven't shown them to her yet. I'm working with a therapist and a lawyer before I do anything final. Also, I'm not trying to be dramatic or vengeful. I'm not planning some movie-style confrontation. I'm just done with pretending I'm okay. For now, she has no idea the ground beneath her is already shifting. And honestly, that's the only thing keeping me steady. Update 3. It's been a week since the night she broke down in the living room. I waited until the house was quiet, until we weren't yelling, crying, or pretending. I sat her down, calm, no theatrics. I told her I knew, that I had followed her, that I saw her with him, that I saw them check in together. At first, she denied it like I knew she would. She said I must have misunderstood, that I must be confused. So I showed her the photos. She didn't say a word for a long time, just stared at them. Her whole face changed, like the version of herself she'd been trying to perform finally cracked. And then, she admitted it, said it was a mistake, that it meant nothing, that she'd been feeling disconnected, unsure, lost. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just told her the truth. You're not the person I married. And I'm not the man who's going to stay silent while he's treated like an afterthought. The next morning, I packed a bag and left. I'm staying with a friend for now. Already spoke with a lawyer. We'll handle it the right way, quietly, respectfully, and with finality. Funny thing is, I thought I'd feel shattered. But I don't. I feel clear. She cried when I left. Kept asking if we could work through it. But some things, once broken, don't get rebuilt. Not because of hate, but because of self-respect. Thank you to everyone who's followed this story. Your comments gave me more courage than you know. This chapter is done. And I'm walking into the next one, dry, steady, and finally free.